Hi everyone, today's video is about my favourite shot, the double-handed backhand. Okay, so like I did with the forehand, I'll talk to you guys my philosophy behind the grips, the technique that's sensible for those grips, and then obviously finishing off with the footwork before I show you some examples of them all together. Okay, so let's get straight into it with regards to the most traditional way of holding the racket for a double-handed backhand, and that is when your dominant hand, so for me my right hand is obviously at the bottom of the racket and it's in an Eastern forehand grip, and I would place my non-dominant hand straight on in the same position of an Eastern forehand grip for a left-handed player. Okay, and those hands just fit snug together. Okay, a couple of little things that I do notice down at the tennis club: the hands should be overlapping, there should be a gap between your hands, they should be just nice and comfortable together. A bit windy today. Should be nice and comfortable together, where your index finger of your dominant hand should be touching your little pinky finger of your non-dominant hand. Okay, so that's it from that position. Okay, and that is your traditional backhand grip. Okay, and as you can see from this position, it creates this triangle between your hands and your arms and your shoulders there, and you just try and keep that all nice and tucked in together. Keep that triangle quite tight in your ready position. Again, out in front of your body, not too close to your body. You don't want your elbows at the side here. Everything in front of your body. Ready position, ready. Okay, now like we talked about on the forehand video, if you have traditional grips where your hands are near the middle, your hands are holding the racket in the middle, that requires the technique to be a little bit flatter on the take backs and a little bit more of a gradual follow through, low to high motion as you swing through the path of the shot. So from this position, from that ready position, again, we talked about it the other day, this unit turn as you take that racket back straight. The goal is to achieve that before the ball, or about when the ball reaches the net in the air when it's coming from your opponent. Okay, so once you've wound that up, the footwork is then kicking in, and you're trying to plant the feet like we talked about yesterday. You're trying to get your feet with that final plant in line with where you're going to try and hit the ball. So if I want to hit the ball across the court, across the camera, together, achieved early, footwork, final plant. Contact point in front, follow through towards that opposite shoulder gradually. So it's a nice straighter, gradual follow through. If I want to hit the ball down the line, this side of the camera, together, winding it up, final plant, more of a turn. Point of contact a little bit more at the side, drive that racket in that direction before coming on over the shoulder. So like we said yesterday, once this, you can see the path of the racket is swinging low to high quite gradually, okay, before it comes on over the shoulder. And obviously the rotation of the body as it comes through is dominated by your opposite hand. So for me, I'm right-handed. The dominating hand is the left hand as I swing round. If you're obviously left-handed, footwork, it's that right hand that swings round and is dominated. I see this quite a lot still at the club. This goes first, yeah, before the racket's being released at the ball. Just make sure once you've wound your racket up, you've worked your feet, that you get the racket head leading the momentum of you back through the ball. This goes first, boom, and then you let that rotation come. Don't let all this go first, because then the racket head is too far back, you'll end up slicing the ball. The racket head takes over. It leads the momentum of you swinging through. So that is your traditional double-handed backhand. Okay. The next one is when you're going to try and hit a double-handed backhand, but you're going to hit it with more spin. You want to create more top spin, like we talked on the forehand video. The modern game, top spin has become a massive part of it because of the pace that we hit the ball at. We obviously still got to control it and get it down on the other side of the court. So if you're right-handed like me, the left hand stays the same. However, your right hand moves around the grip to the left side of the grip to the modified Eastern backhand grip. And a good indication of whether you've got it is that the index knuckle of your natural hand should be pretty much on top of the grip. Okay, and from that position I lift the wrist up, the other hand goes into where it was, traditional Eastern backhand grip, and that immediately is going to allow me to start creating a more brush up effect of the back of the ball. Okay, the racket head's up. It allows me on my unit for the racket head to be a little bit higher. You still need to work the feet into position. You can afford to have your feet slightly more open now, okay, because you're going to be working the rotation of the racket and you back through the ball, okay. And the path that racket takes up the back of the ball, as we talked in the forehand video, once you've done your preparation and your footwork, the racket head dips as it's coming towards that point of contact, and then as it comes up to that point of contact, it's coming up at a steeper angle before it follows through. And it's driving up that back of the ball here before it follows through. So, quick recap of that. The traditional one, where it's the two Eastern grips, the path is much straighter, it's a more gradual elevation. More top spin, you move your dominant hand further over to the back of the grip, the racket head becomes higher, you create more of a loop, you pull the wrists underneath the ball, and then it's a much steeper graduation through the ball. Okay, same principles with regards to the rotation and the follow through. You need the racket head to create the momentum of you here before it comes towards this opposite shoulder. And again, it doesn't need to be wrapped right round here. As long as it's coming over into this area and you're getting a good combination of brushing up the back of the ball and hitting through the ball, as long as it's in this area, yeah, and you've rotated through. So that is the second grip for a double-handed backhand. Okay, the final grip, and it's one that is quite popular with the professionals, and that is when they leave their dominant hand in their forehand grip and they put their non-dominant hand, obviously if they're like me, which is your left hand, into the Eastern backhand grip, and they actually don't change the grips. So that's the forehand grip, and that hand remains there. Put the other hand on when they hit their backhand, okay? And if you think obviously how hard they hit the ball, therefore what little time they have before they have to move, react and hit the ball back, some of them have developed that they don't have time to change grips, so they keep the same grip. So that hand remains in that position whether they're hitting a forehand or a backhand, and that hand obviously just comes onto the racket if the ball's coming to their backhand side, okay? What that means that they have to do is same principles. Everything will be the same principles in relation to their takebacks. They're getting this done as soon as they can. They can afford to leave the feet in a little bit more of an open position, but then they practice the use of their wrists to determine whether they're going to bring the racket steeper to the ball, lower, and then steeper up the back of the ball to create more topspin, or they're going to keep the racket head higher and hit flat through the ball. Because with that grip, you can do both. You can use your wrists and brush up more. You can lift it up and hit flatter through the ball. And that's what a lot of the professionals are starting to do. They leave their dominant hand in their forehand grip and they just place their left hand straight on. Okay? So, little recap from the ready position, the traditional one, hands in the middle, hands are in the middle, ready position, flatter take back, working the feet down where you're going to try and hit the ball, a gradual brush up motion as you let that racket release through towards that opposite shoulder, back to the ready position. Okay, turn, footwork, release, round, back to the ready position. Okay, more top spin, move the dominant hand further over to the opposite side. For me, I'm right-handed, so I'm moving it to the modified eastern backhand area. The racket head is higher. I've got a more elevated take back. The footwork's still turning at the moment, okay? You don't want to turn necessarily too much, but I can still turn here, and then I'm dipping the racket, brushing up at a steeper angle on my follow through. Up, brush, back to the ready position. Up, dip, brush, before follow through. Brush, okay? That's the grip there, okay? And the final one, what some of the pros are doing, put your dominant hand in your forehand grip and put your non-dominant hand in your backhand grip and don't move them. And you practice preparation early, footwork, wherever you need to try and hit the ball, a bit more turn if I'm going to try and hit it straighter, a bit more open if I'm going to hit it cross court, and then you have to use your wrists to determine whether I'm going to try and put more topspin on it, or your wrists lift the racket head higher and hit it if you're going to hit it flatter. Here, turn, I'm going to hit it flatter. I'm keeping the racket head here, through, boom. Yeah, turn, I'm going to hit more topspin. I'm going to dip my wrist, whip, back to the ready position. Okay, not easy that one because the wrists have got to do so much work. I don't recommend that one, because I don't hit it, because I have wrist problems. Sometimes I get elbow problems, and the more extreme grips you use, the more these elements are having to control the ball for you, okay? But I recommend the traditional one, the flatter, or that dominant hand moving over, just to help you create a little bit more top spin as you hit through the ball. So that's the backhand, everybody, okay? My favourite shot, obviously, it does require you to be able to use your body more. Some people, one of the questions I get asked a lot down at the club, which is better, a single-handed backhand or a double-handed backhand? There's no set answer to that. It's whatever you prefer. Advantages of a double-handed backhand, because you've got two hands on the racket and you're using your body, you can create more power. Yeah, as long as you've got that ability to have that rotation, the flexibility to do that, okay? Disadvantages of the double-handed backhand, you need that point of contact pretty spot on every time. Therefore, they've got to be working a lot. Your one-handed backhand, you can get away with the ball being a bit too close to you. You know, this is a little bit easier. Look there, yeah, so with one hand. If I've got two hands on, that doesn't look as easy. Yeah, so the contact with a double-hander has to be pretty spot on compared to the one-hander. Got a bit more flexibility there. Okay, so I hope that helps with regards to the double-handed backhand. Again, if you've got any questions, anything specific to you that you think, you know what, this is what I struggle with, just drop me a text, drop me an email, drop me a WhatsApp, and I'll answer any questions you got. See you soon.